Good morning and welcome to Maximo Bite Size, a podcast on the functionality of Maximo Manage. Today is the second episode in the series on asset management, and we will be discussing service addresses. Locations and assets have an address which identifies where services are carried out. A service address can be a postal address and or a map position defined by a latitude Y or longitude X. Service address. The service address application will be found in the administration module, but you can enter a new service address from both the locations and assets application by using the Create New Service Address action from the Service Address field found on the Service Address tab in those applications. Not all the fields in a service address record will be used, and if your Maximo system is used in only one country, some configuration will be needed to hide those address fields that will not be required. Once saved, the service address application must be used to update the address. The service address is an organization level object, and normally a site would not be entered. It would not stop a service address from being used on a work order for one site if a different site were referenced on the selected service address. The description field is the one most often used in the selection of the correct service address. Sometimes implementations will use a script to concatenate this field from other address fields, including the postal code. There is no function for doing this in Maximo. The street address field will be used for the first line of a postal address. The formatted address field is used when selecting an address from a map position in the Map tab. This may be the nearest address to the map position which the map provider has in their database, but once retrieved it can be modified. Service addresses can either be added to each location or asset in the address information section on the main tab of those applications. Or alternatively, a service address can be derived from an ancestor location, or in the case of an asset, from its location. Inheriting service addresses. Each site in Maximo can have an address system which is defined from the Manage Systems action in the Locations application. The address system must be a hierarchy, but it need not be the system that is marked as the primary system, although often it is. Once defined, as you enter a service address for a location, then all descendant locations will use that service address unless they have a service address explicitly defined for it. This also works for assets. An asset service address can be derived from the location to which it belongs, or from a parent or ancestor asset. A search is made up the asset hierarchy and then up the location hierarchy of the address system until a service address is found. You need to bear in mind that this is a derived service address using a non-persistent field, and the service address code will not be found on the location or asset record except on the record where it was explicitly defined. A query on the service address code in the locations application will not find the locations which are descendants of the location with this service address. When a location or asset is referenced in the primary fields of a work order or ticket-based application, its service address will be copied to the work order or ticket. In the case where there is no explicitly defined service address, then the service address will be derived by looking up the asset hierarchy and or the location hierarchy, and once found will be copied. The address fields on the work order or ticket are persistent to those records and can be modified without changing the address on the associated service address record. Service address options. There are settings in the organization's application under the action Service Address Options. The Address Master option sets the records found in the service address application read-only when the option Use an External or GIS Address System is used. The Service Address Format option allows the first line of the street address to be a structured address, and you can only modify the street address field through the action Add Modify Street Address. There is a second radio button for defining which of the three field formatting options will be used for the street address. For example, use the field order, house number, prefix, street name, street type, suffix, and apartment. The coordinates option is used to define whether the map positioning is using latitude or longitude, or X and Y. Latitude is considered Y and longitude is X, but they are two different coordinate systems. The checkbox Create Service Addresses for Child Records of Assets and Locations will stop a service address from being shared between multiple locations and assets. The checkbox Always Prompt when a service address changes on work orders or service requests will provide a warning when you change a location or asset on a work order or ticket, and this action will change the service address that was previously saved to the work order or ticket. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I look forward to seeing you back on the next episode when we will spend time on pre-applications, meters, meter groups and condition monitoring. The music is called Busy City from the talented group called Track Tribe. Please check them out on tracktribe.com, all one word. Until another time, goodbye.